Yo gamers, more flaws. Welcome to top 13.5 Hollow Knight cameos in other media. See, I could have reacted to so many other videos that would be very nice about lore or Silksong reactions, you know, him mapping out the whole of Silksong. I don't even know how, but yeah, I am gonna react to this because I love a good cameo. And if you're new here and want to watch the second best playthrough of Silksong, just behind yours, feel free to subscribe. It's gonna happen right here. And also check out my Hollow Knight playthrough. It is alright. And of course, there is also gonna be more Hollow Knight content in the future. So fret not, gamers. So yes, let's get into this video. Top 13.5 Hollow Knight cameos in other media by mossbag. Absolute goated content creator. Hell yeah. Let's go. Maybe turn on.
I love references.
Same.
Remember when Wario was on SNL? Where that time?
Oh my god. I just watched a long video where I put it at... Let me just go back here.
I love references. Remember?
Yeah, see, now that's better. Because, you know, I'm used to him speaking slowly, you know. And then he just, you know, did it in the slowest possible way. It's perfect already. 5 seconds in and he's already paused. Imagine.
Remember when Wario was on SNL? Where that time Rick and Morty showed up in Space Jam 2? That was so awesome. I will remember that scene until the day I die. References like these cater to this strange appeal in our minds to see.
Am I blind or isn't that Elon Musk? It looks like him. I could be wrong.
See two things we are familiar with get combined to create a fun and unique experience. And when it comes to indie games, crossovers, cameos, and references happen all the time. Like when Shovel Knight made it into Smash Ultimate, or when Shovel Knight made it into Yooka-Laylee, or when Shovel Knight made it into Fall Guys, or when Shovel Knight made it into Shovel Knight. While the Knight from Hollow Knight isn't as prevalent as Shovel Knight from Shovel Knight in terms of crossovers or cameos, there are still a few references to be found here and there. The one I have seen the most is probably the Knight portrait found in Dead Cells. This image of the Knight's head can be found among a bunch of other bug specimens in a room found in the 3rd level of the game. But this isn't the only Hollow Knight reference found in Dead Cells. Content from Hollow Knight and 5 other indie games has been added to Dead Cells in their most recent Everyone is Here update. And by recent, I mean it launched.
That is overall so nice, because that means that Dead Cells probably took a lot of inspiration from all of those games, so they wanted to pay tribute to the devs and, you know, the games in itself. That is so nice, and it's rather wholesome, actually. I am a big fan. I'm a big fan.
The same day this video was uploaded, the developers behind Dead Cells, Motion Twin, were kind enough to give me early access to this new content. So consider this a bit of a hot scoop. I had actually never played Dead Cells before this either, so it was a nice excuse to finally try it out. And I can see why so many people like it so much. It's sort of a roguelike Metroidvania hybrid, but the combat gets pretty addicting after a while.
Oh yeah, it does look good.
Hollow Knight content.
Like, look. Like, most of these games I'm seeing usually don't have that many frames for their characters. Like, Hollow Knight probably has, like, for walking, maybe like 20 frames, maybe? Maybe that's too much, even. This one has a lot. You can see that on the movement. That is really nice. Why am I saying this? I don't know. Let's continue.
First area of the game, you can find various elements from different games such as Guacamelee, Blasphemous, and Hyper Light Drifter. For Hollow Knight, they added a bench, an object first popularized by its inclusion in Hollow Knight.
I mean, that's good. That's a good reference.
The pure nail item. The pure nail isn't like other weapons in Dead Cells, as it allows you to swing both upwards and downwards, and you can even pogo off of stuff.
Oh my god, wait!
You can also—
That's so badass! Wait, is Dead Cells a recommendation? I'm asking you guys. I am unsure. Although, first we are gonna be playing 9 Souls, because people have also been waiting for that. But let's see! Let's see, it's gonna happen in the future. Relax! But that is so cool. Wait, can I read what it said?
The pure nail isn't like other weapons in Dead Cells.
Here, can attack while moving and... Can attack while moving and upward. Attacking downward while airborne causes you to bounce on your enemies, dealing critical damage. That is so sick! 1337 coins as well? Even better.
It allows you to swing both upwards and downwards. And you can even pogo off of stuff by downward striking. You can also unlock a costume called Vessel. Unfortunately, it's not as detailed as some of the other skins from this update.
Kinda sick.
I'm not sure if this was a limitation from Team Cherry, or if they decided the knight's proportions just don't work well on a full-sized human body. Regardless, it's still a pretty cool skin.
Hell yeah.
This is easily one of the most involved Hollow Knight cameos in this video. Another well-known Hollow Knight reference is from Bug Fables. Bug
Makes
Fables
sense.
is a spiritual successor to the Paper Mario franchise, harkening back to the more RPG-heavy gameplay from the N64 and GameCube eras. At one point, you are able to open a bank account at the Bank of Bugaria, but one of the characters, V, is hesitant, claiming that the banker might steal their money and go to a hot spring. This is a pretty cheeky reference to Millabelle, a bug who steals all your geo and then goes to a hot spring in the City of Tears. Or it might be a clever reference to the sham that is central banking and modern monetary theory. Hollow Knight also makes a cameo in Guacamelee 2. The Guacamelee games are absolutely stacked with references to pop culture. Metroid, Castlevania, Super Mario, Space Invaders, and even references Wreck-It Ralph, itself a reference to Donkey Kong. And then there's the Knight. It shows up in a billboard facing off against Shovel Knight. I'd like to think Shovel Knight and the Knight would get along if they met in the real world, but perhaps that's just wishful thinking. The Binding of Isaac is another indie game with lots of little references to other media. Zelda, Castlevania. In fact, the title of the game, Binding of Isaac, is actually a reference to a somewhat obscure piece of literature known as the Bible. More importantly, there's actually a Hollow Knight reference hidden in this game. Binding of Isaac Rebirth features a drop-in co-op system, where additional players can join in mid-game as little babies. In the Repentance release of the game, not to be confused with the Binding of Isaac Rebirth or Binding of Isaac Afterbirth or Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix, they added a baby that resembles the Broken Vessel boss from Hollow Knight. While I'm talking about the Binding of Isaac, I should mention the Binding of Isaac 4 Souls card game. It was released in late 2018, and in 2021 its first expansion, Requiem, was kickstarted for $6.7 million. Requiem features 4 Hollow Knight inspired cards.
4?
The Knight, Focus.
I love this. I love this. I love this. It's like, don't shun me for this, but it is like, you know, when different animators draw other big franchises characters. It's really cool to see that take on the characters. So yeah, don't shun me. Okay. Wait, let me read this. Play an additional turn. Additional loot. Wait. Play an additional loot card this turn. This can be done on any player's turn in response to any action. Starting item focus, and this is that one. 2 health, 1 attack. Okay. I'm thinking of this like Hearthstone. You know, if it attacks one with 1 attack, it has 1 HP. Why did I mention that? Okay. Each time you gain or are given a soul, this levels up. Pretty cool. Level 1, you have +1 attack for your first attack roll each turn. Ooh. The first time you activate your character card each turn, recharge it. Not sure what that means since I haven't played the game, but you know, it makes sense, you know, it's just a recharge. Prevent the first instance of damage you would take each turn. Father? Oh my god. Oh my god, it looks so grotesque. Oh, the gradients! Oh, this can't be covered. Each time a player dies, put a counter on this. Has -1 roll for each counter on it. The active player loots +1 during their loot step. Loot 10. Eternal. Eternal. When this enters play, it becomes an item the active player gains. Monsters have +1 roll on your turn, I would assume. Destroy an item you control. Give this to another player. Okay.
Radiance. Not only that, but Requiem also features other famous characters, such as the boyfriend and girlfriend from Friday Night Funkin', and another character known as Crewmate, from a somewhat obscure piece of...
Oh my god. Among Us.
...the media known as Among Us. Speaking of which, the Crewmate also appears as a skin in Fall Guys. Another fictional character who appears in Fall Guys is Ninja, who also appears in Fortnite. which means we can now connect Hollow Knight.
Since Ninja is mentioned, I may as well mention this kind of lore. I was there watching him when he beat the first Twitch sub record. This is the worst brag you guys have ever heard, but I was there. I was watching. And I feel like he ruined that momentum by traveling a lot. Thoughts? Or maybe saying yes to many things. Wait, you guys are Hollow Knight fans. You guys don't care about... Maybe you do. Maybe you do. So it's a bit of lore for you guys. You're welcome. Okay? Okay, let's continue.
To Fortnite. Of course, if they put the night in Fall Guys, we could make this chain much shorter. In fact, the Fall Guys Twitter page publicly reached out to Team Cherry to do a collaboration. But alas, as of yet, we still haven't seen a skin of the night in Fall Guys.
That would actually be sick. That would actually be sick. I played like 1 hour of Fall Guys, maybe 2 hours. So yeah, that would be sick. I probably still wouldn't play it, but you get the point, right? It will be cool, you know, more cameos, more collaborations.
Me out, because out of all the games for the night to make a cameo, Fall Guys probably makes the most sense. Another game to get a night cameo is Forager. Forager is an open-world adventure game about purchasing and exploring islands for challenges and rewards. In the game, the player can find a skull chest, which gives them a custom skin of the night. There's also a Hollow Knight reference in another Metroidvania-style game known as Grime. In one section of the game, you can find graffiti of both the Knight and
right there.
Zote. Another Metroidvania, Fist, features a steampunk version of the Knight as a coating for a drill weapon.
So
this
cool.
art is pretty dope, and it's clearly drawn from the Voidheart artwork done for the console release of the game.
Yes.
There's a cheeky reference to the Knight in the DLC for the crazy wall-jumping Metroidvania game Dandara. There's a Hollow Knight figurine sitting on a desk in one area. There's a sticker of the Knight in a platformer game called The Adventure Pals. In the deck-building game One Step from Eden, there's a card called Ice Needle. The flavor text for this item seems to be a reference to a certain phrase that appears in Hollow Knight. And there are probably even more subtle nods to Hollow Knight in other games that I didn't find in my research. So let me know if I missed anything, and check the description for a link to the games I did mention, if any of them seem interesting to you. But it isn't just games that reference Hollow Knight. There have actually been a few TV shows to reference it as well. Amphibia is an animated Disney show about a young girl stumbling into a strange fantasy world, where she must learn how to live among bizarre new creatures, and maybe even make a few friends along the way. The show draws a lot of inspiration from video games like The Legend of Zelda and Chrono Trigger, and it's chock full of random video game references. There's even an Earthbound reference at one point. In one episode, the characters spend time getting combat training from
that's the nail!
to run a daycare, who tricks them into robbing a train. In one shot, we can see a weapon rack with a few different swords on it. At the top, we can see what appears to be the sharpened nail from Hollow Knight, right above the Master Sword from Zelda. But Amphibia isn't the only show to reference Hollow Knight like this. The Owl House is an animated Disney show about a young girl stumbling into a strange fantasy world, where she must learn to live among bizarre new creatures, and maybe even make a few friends along the way. The Hollow Knight reference in Owl House is actually pretty blatant, as it appears in the opening credits of the first season. There's one shot in the opening where this dog thing, named King, is standing in a pile of plushies. There are a ton of references in this one
The Abyss? The Abyss? Yeah.
image. There's the Fourth Angel from Neon Genesis Evangelion. There's the Omu from Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
Bless me.
There's that annoying-ass cat from Sailor Moon. There's that annoying-ass penguin from Digimon. There's a giraffe,
don't say that!
To a somewhat obscure continent known as Asia.
Because Digimon is better.
Cat from Sailor Moon. There's that annoying-ass penguin from Digimon. There's a giraffe, which is a reference to a somewhat obscure continent known as Asia. There are even references to Bosch's famous painting from 1510, The Garden of Earthly Delights. And of course, the Knight also makes an appearance here.
There it is.
For this next one,
Oh,
I'm
there
not really
they
sure we
is.
can call it an Easter egg. There's an Australian television show called The Block. This reality television show is about couples competing to buy, renovate, and flip houses. It's apparently been running for 17 years and has over 800 episodes, which is
Okay.
impressive because I didn't even realize there were that many houses in Australia. During an episode that aired in September of 2020, they actually used the main theme from Hollow Knight. This wasn't a reference. They weren't talking about Hollow Knight.
That
They were
is
just
sick.
using the song. Now, I don't really have any hard evidence for what happened here, but from my understanding and from what I've heard, this wasn't any sort of copyright infringement or anything. It has to do with music rights in Australia. Due to the small size of the country's entertainment sector, rights holders will allow one another to use their music, within reason. And we can keep going down this rabbit hole if we want. Like the Knight cameo that appears in the Brazilian comic series Turma da Mônica, alongside Shovel Knight, a green elephant version of Gandalf, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Mace Windu, and the Black Knight from Scooby-Doo. Apparently the Knight even appears on a craft.
Even mossbag is taken aback by that revelation. Even Dark Knight from Scooby-Doo. Like, listen.
Elephant version of Gandalf, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Mace Windu, and the Black Knight from Scooby-Doo. Apparently the Knight even appears on a craft beer in Russia. Well, I guess that's one more reason to go to Russia. It's no surprise the Knight is popping up in all these random places. The character is easily recognizable, and the game itself is really good.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Knight started showing up on TV more often, or on the moon, or in our blood cells. But this does raise an interesting question. Are there any references or homages in Hollow Knight? That sounds like a pretty interesting topic if I'm being honest.
Ooh.
I wonder if anyone has made a video about that yet.
He definitely has made a video on it.
I wonder if there's a link on screen right now that you could...
Yeah. Oh. That very good segue. We've already reacted to this, so if you want to find it, like, just go on my channel and find it. It's not that far back, because I like reacting to mossbag. So of course, you know, this is a short reaction, so you guys didn't have to, you know, move away for a long time, you know. This is a short video, probably like 16-17 minutes, and now I'm gonna do the longest outro in the whole universe. I am just kidding, by the way. Thank you all so very much for watching. Don't forget what I said about Hollow Knight. Silksong. If you want to watch the second best playthrough just behind yours, feel free to subscribe. It's gonna happen right here. And my Hollow Knight series is probably on the screen right here. Maybe. At some point. Who knows? So yeah, thank you all so very much for watching. The friendliest of reminders to leave a like and subscribe to stay tuned for more. It helps a ton, so thank you in advance. And until next time. And 3, 2, 1, haha, fades away.